Welcome back to another episode Inside the Mill podcast. Coach Christian here, my main man Seth. Today's podcast episode, we are talking about the 5 nutrition rules that changed our clients' results. This week I was already, we had Memorial yesterday, and then in the gym, trained a lot of clients that didn't come in on Monday. And man, probably within the first hour and a half, a lot of people just, summer's rolling around, they're ready to dial in their nutrition, and they're like, Christian, I need you on me again. I need you to steady be checking in. And, we have the messages that go out to the clients and all of the resources for them to track, but they're like, it just really helps whenever you're asking me whenever I come into the gym and asking me regularly. And we've, had some game plans built out for them. So just getting back to those things and what we want to do is just kind of shine some light on these 5 things that have really helped our clients. And number 1, meal prepping your protein. I tell everybody from the jump, like if you want to get back into a routine, if you want to do something where you don't have to make all these drastic changes at once, just cook your protein on whichever day you have the most time. So for me, it's going to be on Sunday after church, where I'm able to prep I usually do a fattier meat. So a ground beef, which is still lean, it's still 93.7, but it's got a little bit more fat. I might do a chicken thigh, or I'll do steak. And then I'll also prep a lean meat. So it might be a chicken breast, it might be a lean ground turkey, it might be fish. And I'll have those 2 proteins that I prep. So that way I know throughout the week, I'm going to have a lean meat and I'll have a fattier meat. And the hardest part and the most time consuming part about cooking and having food ready is just having your protein. And that's where a lot of people find themselves, is they're hungry after work or they're hungry at lunch and they just go, I'm just going to go grab something because I don't have time to do this or time to do that. But if you have your protein prepped, at least it's like, hey, if anything, I'll just eat this. But sides are so easy and fast to make. Like you can make rice so fast. You can make potatoes so fast. You can go grab some cottage cheese or a scoop of Greek yogurt. Like there's all these other sides that are super quick, but it's the protein that's the most inconvenient part. So I always tell the clients, make the inconvenient convenient by just prepping on the day that you're the most free.
So even that, like, there's prepped, like you can go to prepped and you can buy, and I've done this, where you can buy 1 to 2 pounds of whatever meat that you want to purchase there and have that already.
I heard you talk about that.
Created. Yeah. So it's already, you're not even have to cook. So
yeah,
I think we make things way more difficult than they have to be. And for example, I don't know how long out you'll go from cooking on Sunday. When will you have to cook more meat?
Usually on Thursday.
Yeah. Like I'm only going to go 2 or 3 days of eating that, and then I'm ready to cook something else. So
yeah,
I'd suggest like Christian was saying, like a Sunday and a Wednesday.
Starting your week with momentum. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sunday you already have it cooked, and Wednesday you cook again and more portions. And here's the deal: is you're going to cook anyway, so you might as well, especially when it's summertime, you might as well grill larger portions of meat,
like the steak you started doing. You were telling me about.
What's today?
Tuesday.
Sunday, me and Courtney went to Saturday. Me and Courtney went to Whole Foods, and like I got sirloin that was $70-something because there was so much of it. But once I cut it all up, and that's how I've been doing it, is just cutting the steak up into slices.
Cooks faster.
And it cooks faster, and it cooks the way Courtney likes it. But then I can also have it, just a lot more simplified that way. And so, bulk cooking, or purchasing because purchasing the meat's not any more expensive really than buying it.
Yeah, no doubt. I like what you just said about going and grabbing the meat. Like that's the other thing, is when people feel like they're out of time, they feel like, oh, I'm just going to go to Cane's, or I'm just going to go. They pick these other options that it's like, man, there's a grocery store on every corner. And I should probably make a video out of this, just running into the grocery store for 3 to 5 minutes, grabbing a banana, grabbing some Greek yogurt, and then grabbing a protein shake. Like right there, you've got something that's real quick. It's easy. It's going to keep you full until you get to dinner time.
Even Sprouts, though, you go in Sprouts and I was walking around their foods that they've already kind of prepped and things, and they've got rotisserie chicken that they've pulled.
Plenty of options.
There's so many different. You buy some boiled eggs, some Greek yogurt, have an apple or something with it, whatever it is, and be able to go from there. So it's not it goes back to like an identity side of things. It's like if you look at yourself as the person who diets all the time, and that's what you look at yourself as, it's like, oh, I diet, this is just a diet, and I'm just doing this for a little bit for 6 weeks so I can look better on the lake or whatever it is, then you're setting yourself up to failure. Difference between you is like as identity wise, you look at yourself as like, hey, I'm like, just like right now we're making fun of you because you go and like, oh, just a short run day, it was like 5 miles. It's like you look at yourself as an athlete and as disciplined, and when you start to take that identity on, it's not a question on like, you saw my face when you said canes. It's like I had canes like I had canes like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And it was just like, hey, I have a jonesing for this right now. I'm going to eat that. And then now, I don't want it again. So allow yourself to have those things that you want to have, but those aren't going to be, they're not going anywhere. Like Cane's is right across the street. Yeah. And I can go there anytime I want to go there. And so it's this scarcity mindset of like, the food's going to run out. We're never going to have it kind of deal. And so, anyway.
Not only that, and I think it's just patterns and behaviors, guys. Like that's what, a lot of times whenever you're rushed or you're short on time and you feel like, oh, it's this time, I need to go eat. There's all these patterns and behaviors that we've always done, and that's got us the current results that we're at. And so some people, like, if I'm not hungry at noon, I'm not going to eat, just because I'm not going to go, well, it's lunchtime. What's for lunch? If I'm not hungry, I'm not going to eat. So I'll just wait until maybe 2, 3 o'clock, especially if I'm trying to get leaner. I'm going to try to push it back into the day as much as I can. But that's just me personally, that time restrictive eating doesn't work for everybody. And so being able to work around where people currently are, that's why it's good to have a coach too, because they're going to be able to point you in the right direction and find out what works for you. But in saying that, like we've got clients that I've talked to, and they have these fast food things that they do, and it's just the patterns and behaviors that they've always done. And so that's the norm. And so what they have to do is just start to implement different patterns and behaviors and get out of that routine.
Well, they're changing. You change your identity. And by changing your identity, the way you view yourself is, I'm a healthy adult who eats healthy, and prioritizes my health over my taste buds.
Yeah.
And now you get patterns and behaviors that work with that identity. But what the problem is some of you are changing your patterns and behaviors, but you haven't changed your identity, and so they fight against each other. So it's like, my patterns and behaviors, I'm starting to try to do this, but my identity is still this. And so it's like, well, they're not going together. They're causing you more stress. So it's just like, you change your identity, like, hey, I'm not going to be this person that diets for 6 weeks and then go back to my old ways. This is me, and this is the way I do things. Now my patterns and behaviors fall into that because it's my identity of the way I do things, instead of vice versa of, I'm going to change these behaviors and patterns for 6 weeks, but I'm not changing my identity. So I'm right when I fall off of this in 6 weeks, I go right back to my old ways.
Yep. Point number 2 is control your environment. I mean, I hear all the time, and you'll be able to talk about this with a little bit more integrity than me. I don't have kids. I buy the groceries. I control what goes into my house. But at the same time, I feel like you guys are the parents, so you can also control what goes into your house and not let your kids dictate what you eat. And I'm talking to clients all the time, and I hear, I've been getting into my kids' snacks again. I'm like, well, what are you buying them? Oh, well, I'm getting them Captain Crunch. And then for lunch, they like to have stuff that's easy. So we've got just all these other processed foods that have all these other things that aren't going to be great for your kids either, but you're finding yourself getting into them. And then not only that, I've had a conversation with a client where it's like, man, I keep getting into the candy. I'm like, well, where's the candy at? Well, it's sitting on the dining room table. Like, man, out of sight, out of mind. You've got to get that out of your face, especially if you're struggling with it. Get it out of there. And the same thing with the foods. Like, you can control, just because your kids are smaller than you are, they can still eat a lot of the same foods that you do. They're humans just like you are. And not only that, getting ahead of it with your kids now, that way they don't grow up with maybe the same things you grew up with whenever you were a kid. If you ate all those processed foods and you're still struggling with that, maybe you can get a handle on it for your kids. That way that you're able to change who they are, change their identity. That way they're not having to go back in time, just like what you're trying to do.
Yeah, you are the parent. Like, that means that you have to make the decisions that, like, I didn't have sugar until I was in kindergarten. it was fruits were my sugar.
Yeah.
Until we get into kindergarten, and they have like an ice cream machine that the babysitter lets.
Yeah, you start getting out of your parents' guidance, and grandma might let you have some stuff for the school. But a lot of times you probably didn't even, you ate it and was probably like, okay, but you probably didn't crave it and want it all the time.
Crackhead, man. You start giving something,
you went crazy.
Yeah, give a sugar. He's gonna want sugar. It's probably more difficult. I was kind of giggling too. Is like you're talking about your kids. You can dictate what you give your kids. It's probably more difficult for guys like us and because our wives and the decisions they make kind of deal as far as we can't keep it out of the house because they're going to bring it in when they want to. Especially our two wives, they're going to do what they want to do.
Yeah, they're pretty strong-minded.
No doubt about it. So, besides the point, kind of like you were saying, is your kids are watching your behaviors and how you do things, and they're going to take it. So, like, that's the leverage point that I would have is like, okay, my kids are going to take after my results, and you won't do things for yourself, but you'll do it for your kids. So if we looked at it like that, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to get healthy because I want my kids and my grandkids to get healthy. Now it's changing the way you look at it. And so we'll let ourselves down, but we won't let our kids down. And that's what we always see about like, I would die for my kids, but it's like, will you live for your kids? Like, what I mean by live for your kids, like, will you make healthier options so that like later on they don't have to worry about your health and babysit you because your health's declining so much at a rapid pace. We're in some ways we're not going to be able to control it, but in some ways we can control. Well,
let's be real. The majority of the clients that we have that have struggled and came to us and reached out to us for help, it stems back to their childhood. A lot of the things their parents fed them whenever they were kids, or lack of guidance they had over them when they were kids, or things that they said to them, little comments about their weight, like all those other things still stick with you. And so, yeah, getting a handle on it and changing that for your kids right now, that way they don't have to deal with that later on. Point number 3, stay in routine on the weekend. Yeah, Seth, I can kind of let you open this up. I like your story about, once you got a handle on the weekend, how it changed your results, but how pizza was just a must that you had to have every weekend.
Well, that's what we create identities, and so you have an identity. So like I had an identity of like I gotta have pizza every week. That was the identity. I have to have pizza every week. And
usually Saturday.
It could be whatever. So like if I started getting tired during the week and Thursday would hit, it might be Thursday night, it may be Friday, it may be Saturday, whatever. But what would happen is every time I would have pizza, I would think that a story would get triggered. And the story was, you've already blown your nutrition for the week, so you might as well eat whatever you want the rest of the week. And all weekend long, or from Thursday to Sunday or whatever it may be, I would just go ham and I would eat everything and that I wanted to, and tell myself I was going to start again on Monday, kind of. And that would repeat every week. It'd be the same thing. I've got to have pizza. I'd have pizza. That would trigger me to start to go all in and eat everything underneath.
That all or nothing mentality.
But I'm the type that will bounce back quick, and Monday I'll start over. And so it was just this karmic cul-de-sac of just the same thing, until one day I just questioned myself: do I really need pizza? And then once I changed that I questioned that story: do I really need pizza? I started looking at it differently, and I started, like, for example, we went to Whole Foods, like I said the other day, and they have pizza there. So I got a couple slices of pizza. So I allow myself to have a couple slices of pizza instead of having the whole pizza, or I make a homemade pizza. They're just different ways of being able to satisfy that. And what happened is that one weekend that I just said, hey, I'm not having pizza this weekend, that broke that loop and that cycle. I didn't eat a bunch of crap over the weekend because I didn't have that trigger. And then what happened was I woke up, I was leaner, I felt better, I had more energy and more focus throughout the first part of the week. I wasn't beating myself up and didn't have the shame and
That's
guilt.
what I was going to say.
Yeah, I didn't have the shame and the
That's
guilt.
the difference.
Let myself down. And then what started to happen was instead of that pizza trigger, I pivoted and I went and I decided, hey, you know what? I can have pizza, but I don't need the whole pizza. I don't need to dip it in ranch. I don't need to go for a banana split afterwards.
Yeah.
Deal. I can just have these couple slices or whatever it is and go right back to my normal routine. So I think where a lot of people, they need to identify what's that trigger that's causing them to fall off. And that's just being aware of your circumstances and like, hey, when I do this, it leads to me doing this.
Yeah.
And that could be with anything though. So it's questioning your thoughts. And that's something we preach to our new clients coming in, and is like, we've got to question our stories, our beliefs, our rules, our laws that we have, that we've created for ourselves. And if we don't
Is
do
it
that,
true?
it keeps us stuck kind of deal. So.
Yeah. And kind of outside of nutrition on the weekend, I also want to touch on like stay moving, stay having a step goal, like all these other things that you're doing throughout the week that are getting you the results that you want and keeping that momentum for you. Like, don't just break all momentum on Saturday and Sunday, because it makes Monday hit like a truck. And then a lot of times, if you're not getting your steps, that's another thing that starts to give you in that mindset of like, I'm already not moving, and then I'm going to have a bad meal. And then all these other stories you start to tell yourself because it started with one thing that you didn't do. So just keep that momentum, find ways to move, find ways to be active, find ways to not be so bored inside the house. Get out of the house a little bit more, because when we're bored, we'll just go open up the fridge and just look to see what's in there. Like just get out a little bit more, and try to keep that momentum on the weekend.
The weekend is a separator.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want elite results, that the weekend is what separates those elite results. So it's whatever you've got to find to be able to do. But kind of like you said, you got to keep moving during the weekend and keep into a normal routine of what you continuously do during the week, and just realize that Saturday and Sunday are just another day.
Mm-hmm.
They're not any different than Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Just act like you would Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday, and make the same decisions, but with the same integrity, and be intentional with that, and you'll get the results that you want. But when we mess up the weekend, or we mess up on Thursday, and we go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then you're spending 40 to 50% of your week eating like crap, and then we don't think about it that way, because like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you may eat pretty good, and then you let yourself off on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and your majority of your meals are going to be heading in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and we're not saying don't rest. I've had clients go, "Well, what day can I rest?" Like, we're closed on Saturdays and Sundays, so I'm not saying you got to work out, but movement is so good for recovery. Eating good foods is great for recovery. Prioritize your sleep. That's another thing. People will be locked in Monday through Friday because they have to go to work. And then on Saturday and Sunday, they're sleeping until 11 a.m. And then you're behind, and then you're staying up late.
It's not even sleeping in as much as they're staying up late doing things that they want to have a little time off. And so they stay up later, and it messes that whole sleep rhythm up.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, it's just like an endless cycle of just repeating old stuff.
Trying to catch back up.
Number 4, journal or write it down. So this helps for a lot of times people don't want to track their calories, or they don't have the knowledge yet on how to properly track their calories. And so I just tell them, hey, either take a picture of it and send it to me, or just write down what you're eating and then try to make an estimate based off of what you're looking at. Like, it's about a fist size of a chicken breast. So then I can know, okay, that's about 5 to 6 ounces of meat. So just write everything down. And a lot of times that awareness is what precedes change. You starting to write it down, you might go, I really don't want to write down that I'm going to have these 4 slices of pizza, or I'm not going to write it down that I want to have these 2 cookies.
Or I don't want to write it down, so I just won't eat it.
Exactly. Yeah. But it starts to make you think, because a lot of times we're just mindlessly snacking. Snacking is a big one, where people are just eating food. And when you're snacking, you're distracted a lot of times. You're watching something. You're just not even thinking about the food that you're consuming. And because of that, those hunger signals aren't kicking in. And a lot of the stuff that we're snacking on is highly palatable stuff, which is stuff that's not going to satisfy you. And you can just endlessly eat it. Like a good example of that is, think about a whole family-sized bag of Lay's chips. Like, we could throw that down and not even be that full. Like, you could toss down a whole family size of chips. Imagine eating 10 baked potatoes plain. nuts, salt and pepper on it if you want to do that. You would be stuffed after 2 baked potatoes. So, but a lot of times the amount of calories that's in 10 baked potatoes is going to be the amount of calories that's in a size bag of Lay's chips. And so just starting to make better decisions with food, but just the awareness of knowing, hey, I'm going to write down everything I eat. That's going to a lot of times create that awareness, and that awareness is what creates that change.
I go back to those cards we have up front. That was like,
it's effective.
Well, and what we can do is, and we're talking business strategy
right
here, but is those cards. One of the things we used to do each week was we'd have a bowl.
Turn them into the fish bowl.
And then every week, at the end of the week, we would take one person and one person would win something. So the more cards they put in there, the more of a chance they get to win. We probably need to start that back.
I like that. Make a note of that.
Yeah. The other side of it, and this really goes back to the weekend side, but even with the writing things down, majority of people are bored. And when we're bored, we start to get destructive, and we make our decisions are destructive. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, I'm hungry, and it's like you're not really hungry. So it's for me on the weekend, a big piece of it was I had to keep moving and stay productive doing something. So that doesn't mean I can't rest. It just means that, like, hey, I'm going to get this many steps in this week. I'm going to get in the sauna, get in the cold plunge. I'm going to do something that's healthy. I'm going to go for a bike ride, whatever it is, to keep me active that way too, so that I'm not sitting around thinking about food. So
yeah.
And then you stay busy all day long, and then the evening time, now it's time to eat or whatever. So on the weekends too, another way of doing it is just like, hey, I'm going to fast, and I'm going to allow myself to have one good meal that I want that day to celebrate or whatever it may be, and have one meal, and then you just use all your calories for that one meal that way. So, different ways of doing it.
For sure. In talking about different ways of doing it, everyone's unique. And so point number 5 is hire a coach. Have some type of accountability. Yeah.
It's genius.
I had to throw this one in here. Because a lot of times, I mean, this is what's fun about being a coach is everyone is their own puzzle piece, and you've got to figure out the patterns and behaviors that are keeping people stuck where they're at. And then you're trying to figure out, hey, what can we do to help get you the results that you want? And it's not the same for Joe might be getting results, but then Betty over here, it's not going to be a cookie cutter plan that Joe's doing. Joe's different. He's built different. He's got more kids than maybe Betty does. Like, he just lives a different life. And so we've got to figure out, and he's just genetically built different. So just having a coach to be able to give you that accountability, someone who's asking you, who's checking in with you. And when you know in the back of your mind, like, Christian's going to be asking me about my food. He's going to be having me weigh in on Mondays and Fridays. Just knowing that that's there, it keeps you from drifting. And a lot of times we drift, and that slow drift, it might just happen with losing 1 or 2 habits, but then before you know it, you fall back all the way to the original thing that you were doing, and that's what's got you the results that you had that you didn't like. And so just having a coach to be able to hold you accountable, but not only that, have a plan that works good for you and give you that knowledge. That way you can start to get into a system and start to learn things. And then once you start to learn it, you can eventually live it on your own, and it becomes your identity. But it takes a lot of time. You didn't put all that weight on overnight, and you're not going to lose it overnight. And that's the problem with a lot of people that don't have a coach, is they go 0 to 100 real quick. So they're going to look up, okay, how can I start cutting all these calories, and how can I start burning more calories? And a lot of times that's the last thing you need to do. Like, you can pull one lever and cut calories, but you don't want to cut calories and then increase your movement and then start working out more. Like, that's just, you're burning both ends of the stick, and eventually it's gonna crumble and burn out. And so having a coach to be able to build a plan around you is a game changer.
Betty Joe.
Betty and Joe.
That's the side of it, is like, I have you already know, I have coaches in business. I have coaches in my fitness side, performance wise.
I was awesome. gonna bring up that nutrition with your coach. Like, man, you had a coach before that had you on 2,000 calories, and bro, you're 6'1", you were probably 230 at the time. Like, 2,000 calories every day for how hard I see you work was not enough food. And so what it would happen was you would do that for only so long, and you're like, screw it, man, I can't keep eating this way. And then you would have some high calorie days, and that would kind of keep you stuck where you were. And so
that's
your coach feeds you now.
Yeah. Well, I was paying $99 too. So like it was one of those things where he was just giving me
what you pay for, huh?
He was giving me just a calorie and a protein and send me on my way, and I should just figure it out, kind of deal. And but 100%, like you said, it's like he'd never met me before. It was online, never seen how I was built, as far as like how much mass I hold on to and things like that. So it would set me up for failure, and I would let myself down because 2,000 calories wasn't
not enough.
Eat, and I would overeat, and then I'd go and hide and not want to not to turn my numbers and stuff in because he set me up for failure. And it was not his fault. It was just like, I needed to just be like, hey, bro, which he should have figured it out.
For sure. Well, then you'd fast for days and you'd kind of go into that.
But there wasn't even really talking about it. It was more of, hey man, where you at? Like, it was not like, where's your numbers at? And as far as that goes, and like when you're turning in numbers that you don't want to turn in because it's not. So what changed was, one, I pay a little bit more to work with Austin, and like with him, we're jumping on a call once every couple of weeks. We're building a relationship. He knows kind of how I am. And so it's one of those things that I don't want to let him down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it works so well with our clients, is because they built a relationship with you and Isaac. And it's one of those things where they don't want to let you down, kind of deal. And y'all built a relationship because we see each other every day. As far as that stuff. So having someone that when you'll let yourself down, that is going to just ask you, and they'll care about your results just as much, and you'll want to fulfill what they ask you to do because you don't want to let them down. And that's really the leverage that a majority of people need. Plus, I just like, if I do it my way, I'm going to do it the hard way. It's like, I'm going to fast. I'm going to do things like, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm not getting the nutrients and the vitamins and minerals I need as well. And so with the way Austin does it, he's making sure I'm getting everything that I actually need for my results that I actually want. So
and our clients that get the best results, they're not the ones that are the most disciplined. They're just the ones that ask the most questions, and they're the most connected to us, and they raise their hand when they need help. So that way they can get the answers that they need. So relying on that willpower, it's going to run out. But so that's pretty much it. All these 5 topics here, just try to implement one at a time. And for newer people that might be listening to this, our habits and intro program that we're running right now, our 42 strong, focuses a lot on just little things like this to implement into their life.
Our big focus is, what we're trying to do is get you through 2 phases of our program. And that 2 phases are momentum and a skill set. We're trying to, over a course of 6 months, it may take some people longer, it may take people a shorter amount of time. What we're trying to get you through is those 2 months, or those 2 phases of training with us, because what it does is it builds a skill set for you in the strength training side of it and the nutrition side of it, to where you know what to do and how to do it. And a lot of clients, it starts to become them just being able to maintain it from there. And then we have some different options for those clients. But like, if we never get through those 2 phases, then we're not setting you up for success long term. And so right now we do our 42-day, we're changing some behaviors and some patterns. And after that 42 days, you follow the plan, the vital method, then we refund your investment. That can be a refund. That can be an investment back into our next level of programming, because the majority of people know that after 6 weeks that they need more. And so they will jump in to a longer time with us so we can get through those 2 phases. But that's our main focus, of getting you through those 2 phases. So 42 Days Strong, built around patterns and behaviors, simple. You show up inside the workouts, we take care of that. You follow the nutrition, you get your steps in, you communicate with us in our app. You do that consistently, then you win on that side of it. You start getting results. And then from there, we can sit down and make a more informed decision on, hey, this is exactly what I need. This is the program I need. And then we can move forward from there. So if you're interested in the 42 Day Strong, you shoot us a message with 42 Day, and we'll guide you from there. We'll point you in the right direction. We'll ask you a few questions and get you set up to win long term. That's ultimately what we want for you, and ultimately I hope that this is what you want for yourself. So that's it for me.
If you got something out of this and it helped you out, and you want to help shine some light and some knowledge on somebody else, share this with somebody. But for another episode of Inside the Mill podcast, we'll see you on the next one. Timed it perfect.